you're showing, how you made about $900,000.
Yeah, I think it's like eight. Well, I think the number is like 839K or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's quite 900. But
You technical son of a gun.
no, I don't want to come across as like flexing, like exaggerating,
Let's be honest, you're not gonna find these videos anywhere else. Why? Because I make them. So it would really help me out if you subscribe. If you've already subscribed, what also really helps is if you like the video and leave a comment. It's hard in the era of clickbait videos on YouTube and negativity in the producer community, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much.
If we're rounding up, you've made $1 million off BeatStars, right? If we're rounding up to the nearest million, basically.
I think it's probably safe to say that it's so close. It's not quite, but off beats in general, and with 80-90% of that being BeatStars.
There we go. So to be clear, that's net, not gross, because a lot of people, they see those screenshots and like, well, that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because there are other producers out there touting similar numbers. And I love celebrating that, and they've been met with some degree of skepticism here and there. Have you faced any skepticism after posting that video where you're showing, how you made about $900,000?
Yeah, I think it's like eight. Well, I think the number is like 839K or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's quite 900. But
you technical son of a gun.
No, I don't want to come across as like flexing, like exaggerating, Like that's why I say that, not because the number's out there, like it's just a flat number, Like I put it down to the penny in the whatever my gross was. It's just a huge industry. It's like upwards of like, I think BeatStars and Leases, like the industry is like $60-70 million like a year in like beat leases or something like that. Like, so someone has an opportunity to come away with like $1 million off that, like Cash Money AP, I'm sure has done that.
I'm glad you said that. I wasn't going to say names that I'm skeptical about. Like I don't want to speculate, but you said it. I didn't. I feel like a lot of us.
I feel like that's a compliment.
No, I feel like a lot of us can make educated guesses and, be like, well, maybe Cash Money AP or maybe a producer whose name starts with the letter M. You know what I mean? We can assume that they probably are at that level.
I would love to talk to the letter M guy.
He's hard to get a hold of. I could only get him for a. Oh, I can't say because that's going to give away who I'm talking about. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, anyways. But yeah, no, I'm sure people have done really well, and like it's not about whether like it's a fun game to play or not, it's like that's the size of the market, so whether it's fun or not is kind of irrelevant, which it is fun,
right?
But like if artists are, this is my opinion on the whole thing. If we like zoom out big picture, like it's getting easier and easier to at least attempt to be a rapper. Same with producer. And like all you need is a laptop. You can download free software. And then you maybe need $100 for a microphone and like a pop filter. And then $30 for a beat lease. Like anyone can try to do that. Like, so, and everyone that goes on like TikTok, all they see is like rappers and stuff like that. So, I'm sure there's more, but like they see plenty of people like blowing up, like, and so a lot more people are trying it because the barrier to entry is so low. So like more and more people are going to try it, and more people are going to become producers, especially as like everything in the world gets more and more automated and easier, because it's a lot easier to be alive today than it was in like 1950. So I think more people are going to get into entertainment and art and that kind of stuff. And so like, yeah, the market's going to grow.
Yeah. And even outside of the hip hop and rap genre, there are R&B ballads, acoustic type beats. It's really this expansive market.
Yeah, I saw some like, what was it, like Luke Combs type beats, like, which is like a country artist, like on the top charts of BeatStars. It was like they were doing like, I don't even know, like crazy like country artists that my parents listened to, like were on the top charts of BeatStars, and I was like, wow, that's new.
Yeah, and you have to figure, just think about it. This goes back to the whole, producer versus beat maker conversation, which I think is just pointless. But you have to think about all of the expenses that singer songwriters have to deal with. A lot of them go the Nashville route. That Nashville is still kind of the way to go in that world, especially if you're a country singer songwriter. And to go into Nashville, it's expensive to put that session together. You have people out there who can do the entire thing from their house and just put it online. It's like, here you are. Here's the whole thing for $24.99.
And
as opposed to going to Nashville, you got to pay all these different people and get into a studio and get everyone together, and that's hundreds of dollars per song.
Yeah, and the only downside that like people would say is like that it's not exclusive, but who cares? I don't think Old Town Road was exclusive at first. Like I'm pretty sure Lil Nas X bought the $35 lease or whatever, and I'm sure someone else leased it before him. But it's like, who makes the best song?
Yeah. I mean, even we were talking about this on the podcast the other day. Soulja Boy's "She Make It Clap" is leased. That's not even his exclusively. Phantom still is leasing that.
So I've always wondered about this. So does Soulja Boy, because what Beatstar contract, it's like 50-50 on the revenue split, isn't it, for producers?
Sorry, you glitched out for a second. What'd you say?
Oh, what the standard BeatStars contract, is it like 50-50 on the revenue split for leases?
As far as
it's not like 4% on the master if you like do like a typical industry standard placement contract. Because I think the BeatStars contract is a lot better. Because I've always wondered why bigger artists didn't just lease, but it's because the BeatStars contract doesn't make as much sense for them. But,
well, for the labels, because the labels want. But and this is outside of my my scope of experience, but having spoken to Abe, and he was on, and we were talking about this. So these are his words and his experiences, not mine. But there are labels that are now just saying, you know what, we're just going to go with a lease. So I think things could change in the industry when we're talking about major artists. So who's to say? I mean, I think Soulja Boy's independent at this point, but I guess it's happening on the major label level.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that too, especially with like sample packs. But so I think the interesting thing there is that they will go with like a lease, but they want to renegotiate the terms. So they're okay with it being non-exclusive. I doubt Soulja Boy is okay with giving 50% of song revenue to the producer, but so maybe he spends $5,000 on the lease and renegotiates the terms or something like that. I don't know. That's just like what I've heard stuff like that happening.
I would love to know. And I guess that's between either I get an interview with Soulja Boy or I get an interview with Phantom.
Well, I wasn't talking about that specific situation. I was talking about situations like that.
Well, yeah, it would be. I'm just curious to know how it actually happens in practice, though. What else? So when you started on, and how long have you been on BeatStars? Somebody wanted to know, just to put it into perspective.
Like for real, October 2018, but I probably posted a beat like I used to just like October in like 2015 or something like that. I posted like a few beats on my YouTube, and I just put my email in the description, and like someone would PayPal me, and I'd give them like a Dropbox or Google Drive link or something like that for like stems. But yeah, it's funny, at that time I didn't recognize an opportunity. I was like, oh, that's cool. Like that's cool that I made money that way, but then I didn't even think anything of it. But yeah, so BeatStars, I mean, probably sometime in 2018 is when I got an account.
All right. When you started, did you ever think you'd reach that financial milestone?
Honestly, I just kind of, if I'm being 100% real, I just like kind of believe in myself. And yeah, I think I didn't have like, ooh, I'm going to have this exact number by this time, but I'm like, I'm going to be able to get really good at this at some point. Like, I just knew that I'd be top level, whatever that was at some point. And of course it's going to fluctuate, but I mean, that was my thought going into it. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel weird saying that answer because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I never expected," but it's like I kind of thought it would happen. I thought it would be to a very well. The reason I thought that is because once I was making, so say I had 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel and I made $1,200 that month, and I looked at my views and I'd go to Social Blade and looked at everyone's views. I was like, I would just do the math. I'd be like, okay, well, this is my conversion rate as of right now. Based on how many views I get and how many sales, it equals 1,000. Like, say I'm only getting 50,000 views a month on my channel or something like that. That's just a complete guess. I don't know what that's like. So, okay, no, let's say it's like 30,000 views. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm getting $1,000 off 30,000 views, if I get 10 times that, now let's bring it back. It's probably like 10,000 views a month, because if I get 30 times that, I'll make like $30,000 in a month. And that was true. So I just I was doing the math, and I'm kind of doing the math right now off my on camera channel, where I do see if I were to get Kyle Beats numbers, and if I have the same conversion rate for my sample packs, that's a crazy number that you could do. So it's just I think the math is there, I always thought the math was there.
That's interesting, because you had a really analytical view and approach from the very beginning, which I think a lot of people don't necessarily have. So you always looked at it as this viable business in addition to just loving making beats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one thing that was that I even think is a bit interesting about myself is I never really second guessed it as a way to make money. I was it seems strange to everyone else, but it's I just saw that you could. And I'm well, I'm looking at all these numbers, and I know everyone else is oh, that's not sustainable. I even had people tell me within the last month, are you sure it's a sustainable business? And I'm yeah, I'm pretty sure. But it just seemed I've never questioned whether or not someone could do this for a living. I don't know why. I just, even at $80 a month, I'm yeah, obviously you can do this for a living. And I don't know where that comes from. That's a tough thing to give advice on,
Well, isn't it sad that this is a rare stance? I just mean in terms of, I'm looking around, and granted, I understand that this is a hard business to be in, at least starting out. It's not for everyone, obviously. Mm-hmm. But isn't it unfortunate that there's a large percentage of producers that are second guessing themselves and their purpose? Because it's with you, I feel like you knew from the get-go that you could do this. And so all you had to do was move towards that goal. You didn't stop, you didn't waver, you didn't zigzag around. And I think a lot of people are zigzagging around because it's they second guess themselves. Okay, I'm going to get a job. They get the job, they're miserable, they quit, then they zigzag some more. Okay, I still can't do it. I'm going to go start a family. Then they zigzag around that. And okay, I'm panicking because of the finances, zigzag around that.Maybe I'm not making the right kinds of beats. So then they switch their style up. That's another setback. You didn't experience that.
Yeah. A couple things I want to say. One thing I think, just from looking at other people, from an observational standpoint, is that it's much more, it's not skill level or potential or ability to learn that's holding it back. It's just emotions throwing them off. Everything you just listed is they do those and they get nervous, and then they don't stick to the script, And so, and I wanted to be clear, everything I said about the confidence and stuff and belief that it could, that was deep down. There was for sure times where I'm okay, I'm making $1,700 3 months in a row. Am I going to be doing this when I'm 45? Am I going to be making $1,700 when I'm 45? And I was no. Also, no offense to anyone who's 45, because if you're 45 and you put in 8 years, you can be killing it. But that was my like there was nights where I'm like, okay, like, am I crazy for like seeing this? But I still believed it. But it's like, I don't know, you know, it was like, there were moments of fear, but deep down I was always like, I wasn't going to do anything else. And I was going to stick to the plan. So there were those moments of like doubt for sure. There still is. Like, it's like with growing my other YouTube channel, it's like, okay, is it really going to pop off, or is it like, but yeah, I mean, there's always that for sure. But like, it like comes and I know that it's not real. I know those thoughts aren't real. So I know that just like something to be like, my ability to like succeed is going to depend on how well I either like dismiss those thoughts or like overcome them, you know, and like stick to the plan.
Okay, so this is starting to sound like one of those videos posted on, you know, the daily motivation law of attraction videos, and that's not a bad thing. So it is, just to make this clear, is mastering your thoughts, is mastering your emotions, is controlling your mind a part of your formula for success?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I always do try to stay away from like the motivational, but like if I were saying if that didn't play like a very important role in, like that's just important to like stick to the plan, you know? It's not like I just imagine something and it's going to come to me. I don't think that's true. You know, it's not like I'm just going to manifest. Like it's like the emotional control and like the ability to like override your, like self-doubt just to stick to an upload schedule, you know, and stick to what you think is going to work. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's a very important part of like the day-to-day. And it's also like important for like output and productivity because like I actually noticed, and I've had a change in the last like week or so, is I actually like realized how much time I was like going back and forth of like being like insecure about a beat, you know, and like, is this beat good? Like, is it not? Like, maybe I should try some other ideas. But like, I kind of have been working on overcoming that. And this is more of an experiment right now to see like what happens if I do just go full steam ahead. And like, I posted 4 beats in 24 hours on my YouTube channel the other day.
Yeah, I saw. I'm going to ask you about that in a second.
So that just like, I think 2 out of 4 of them were good. Like 2 of them were good, not great, and then 2 of them were pretty solid. So like it's just like, what if I do just override that? Like, but then it's like it's a really tricky balance between like you want to be confident but not arrogant, because it's not like everything I touch is gold, because that's not true, you know. So you got to be like humble in the way where you accept critical feedback and like how you know that you have plenty of room to improve and learn. And then, but at the same time, know that like putting stuff out there is going to be how you learn and improve, because like that's how you get the feedback and that's how you read what the audience is interested in. And so like the confidence to put your stuff out there and know that like you're going to grow from it, you're going to learn from it, even if people say it sucks or whatever, you know, is really important.
So have your prices changed over time? How have you set those?
A little bit. Like I think they boost like $5 every once in a while. Right now it's like 35, 80 and 100, or 35, 75 and 100 or something like that. For basic, premium, unlimited. And I see some people do like 200 for a limited. I don't know. I actually don't know what the best pricing model is. Like what's the most I feel like that the pricing model is like a way to capture the value that you've already created. And so like a more efficient way, like how do you capture more dollars for the product that you already created would be what the pricing model is. Like maybe there's an optimal number somewhere, and I'm actually not sure what it is.
Yeah, so you're just kind of experimenting and seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I haven't changed them much, just like minor increments.
Got it. So I noticed something new about your Instagram bio. Tell me if this is new. I think you added this recently. You added the following words: I don't sell exclusives or do mixing. Is that new?
No, probably like a year or two ago. I just felt bad. So many people asking for exclusives, and like I didn't have time to get back to all of them. So I thought that was a better way of just kind of announcing it. And yeah, and the reason, if we want to go into that real quick, is just because if you get 1 million views on a video, if you sell, you could have sold the exclusive one time for like $1,000 or something like that. But you could have sold, what would be like 300, and you could sell like 1,200 leases for like $30, and you would make like 36,000. So it's like that's just why. And like you don't know which ones are going to pop. So if you don't sell exclusive for any of those, then that's just a better way to go, in my opinion. You could maybe sell, but I actually do like what you're doing with your exclusive beat store. I think that's a pretty cool like idea, especially if you can have a high level of output.
Right, which I think we both do. So it's yeah, and that's something new that I'm trying. I only have 20 some odd beats in there at any given time, but I would get, so like you, that's why I thought it was interesting that you put that in your bio, because I would get a lot of exclusive inquiries or people, I have some beats that went viral, not as many as you, of course, but I have one that's a couple million views, and it's sold a lot. People are constantly offering, $400, $500, $600 for it, and it's just like, look, I'll give you a discount on the license or something, because I just can't sell this one exclusively. It wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense to me, and it wouldn't make sense to you either. Mm-hmm. So I'm just not doing it. But because there was a demand, I'm like, let me just try something out and create a separate a separate store just for people who only want exclusives. And then, like, to speak to what you're saying about just not overthinking it, I feel like I used to overthink it, because I'm like, well, I could be making this much, and you never know. You never know which beat's going to be the one. And like the beats that go viral for me are almost never the ones that I thought were going to go viral. So just like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn that part of my brain off and just put them all in the exclusive store, and we'll see what happens. And it's offering, hopefully providing value to people who want it. So a lot of people were wondering about your employment situation when you jumped into beat selling. And I remember we spoke about this in the last conversation, and you went full time kind of right away before you were selling beats. Why did you just jump head first in like that without having any kind of safety net?
Well, that was the exact reason. That's a little wild. I don't know if that would be, I don't think that's a good idea for me to give that advice to people. But yeah, I mean, I knew what I was doing wasn't working. I knew my expenses were very low. I knew it was early enough, like in my life, where I had next to no responsibilities. And I was just down to bet on myself. And I knew no safety net is gonna like I seriously used to be like embarrassed to post like beats when they got like 30 views. Like that used to like terrify me, dead serious. And like long time ago. So like I knew if there was no safety net, I have no choice but to, it was the best motivator for me to overcome those get out of my comfort zone and like overcome those fears of just posting consistently. So like I knew, yeah. It puts the pressure on you. Like, and some people are really good with that. Some people would not be able to focus at all. They would just be too worried about everything. And so it really depends on your like risk tolerance and like who you are as a person. So for me, that works pretty good. Like that gets me going, So, and honestly, I find it like weirdly exciting for the stakes to be that high. So that's kind of fun for me, but yeah, that's not everyone. So, but yeah, I took the leap with I wasn't even posting beats online. I was just took the leap of I have 6 months saved up at crazy low expenses. I can't spend anything on anything, or I can't spend any money on anything other than food and rent, and I better figure something out,
Was your family supportive at that moment?
They didn't know. So I wasn't going to
What did you tell them you were doing? Oh, no, it's cool, Mom. I'm just selling drugs.
No, I was telling them that because I had a programming job, and I think my mom knows this by now. Hopefully, I don't know if she'll watch this, but I had a programming job, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like working remote for right now," and like that was kind of true. I wasn't working remote, just like making beats. Never clarified it. Never talked too much when people ask me about my job. I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's going good," you know. And so, yeah, and that's probably like 6 to 8 months before, like, even that's probably like 6 months before that $80 in a month where I made that in October of 2018. So like up until then, I was doing like odd jobs, like umpiring and like doing weird stuff like that I could find, like just like someone needs like their lawn mowed or something, you know, just like to make rent that month. And so
what did you lease the lawn mowing, or was it an exclusive lawn mowing?
Oh, it was exclusive. So that's funny. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if I did exactly lawn mowing, but like, I would just like, oh, actually, no, I did for my grandparents, stuff like that. So like anything odd, just like to make money until I tried to fix like iPhone screens. So I was just trying to do anything to stay alive and trying to figure out like how to make money without having a job. Cause like jobs are not for me. So, yeah, so that was, like I said, a bit wild, and I wouldn't recommend that. But if you have a high risk tolerance, if I were giving advice to myself back then, I'd be like, yeah, do it. But if I was giving advice to most people, I don't know. I just don't know if everyone has like a risk tolerance like that. So careful on what I say about that.
So let's talk about your video where you broke down your journey towards that, and I think it was $850,000 plus some cents. And I'm sorry, I'm not as specific as you. And this video was great because it shows that you started with nothing, and your first month of using BeatStars, you earned $80. I think, right? That was your first month.
Yep.
All right. Early on, your sales would jump and drop. You spoke about the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. I actually know why that is now. But
okay, yeah, I'd love to hear why that was, and then I'd also love to hear how you handled that frustration and continued forward from there.
Well, so I actually noticed I was making more sales on Instagram for that period before they dropped. It's because I had like this Instagram bot that I found, and it would go and follow like other producers, like I'd said to DJ Payne 1, and would go and follow. And by the way, don't do this anymore, and this is not sustainable. But it would go and follow you, and it would follow people who recently followed you. It would comment fire emojis on their recent, like one of their recent 3 posts. And then they would see that, like, then my bio would be like beats for sale or something like that. And so that was working, and then Instagram shut that down. So that's why, like, I was making probably like a good chunk of the of the early money like that, of like when it's from somewhere between like $80 and like $2,000 a month. So that's why I took the dip that one time. And I just remembered that.
I feel like people can still do that today, but just more authentically and not with a bot.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So given that it was jumping all around, how did you kind of overcome that frustration and just keep moving forward?
I mean, it was because of my setup. I mean, and just like I had no choice, you know? Yeah, it was just because like of the way I set my life up, where like I had to sell beats to make money. So like you don't have time to feel bad for yourself when you got to pay the rent, you know? So
yeah,
I mean, so that's why I put myself in that situation. It's tough. Like I said, I don't know if I'd recommend that for everyone, and I was young enough that like if I wanted to go back to school, I could have like graduated when I was 25 and just been like 3 years late from everyone, you know? So I always knew that would be okay. Like I could always get a job and keep my same living situation. So,
because I think fear does increase with age. I really think it does.
It depends. I think it increases with responsibility.
Right. Well, I guess responsibility generally increases with age. I think it probably should. But again, like, you know, I'm in a very different situation from most people in their 30s. I don't have kids. You know, I'm not married. I don't have student debt. So again, like you were saying, the risk factor for me, or the what did you call it? The risk.
Well, like your risk tolerance.
My risk. Yeah, my risk tolerance is high.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a really good question.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of people in our. That's funny. I just saw Mike Tramp's question. Yeah, you can buy bad things for $1 million exclusive. Just kidding.
Oh, he's got it. He's got it. He was ready to put up $1 million for that funk volume battle. So you know he's got it. So you had this kind of slow growth period for I think a good year until you reached that $4,000 a month BeatStars revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting to me is that around that time you were kind of switching your targets. You didn't consistently focus on keyword niches at that point, but it worked for you, which was interesting.
I would have
especially,
to see. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, it was glitching a little, but
I feel like you're a CNN correspondent right now via satellite.
So I was targeting. I think I was targeting niches. There's like 2 different niches I was targeting, if I remember correctly at that time. So there was the Kanye, J. Cole, in niches of those people that would be like in the same lane. So like with J. Cole, you could be like Boss or like Isaiah Rashad or something. And then with Kanye, you could be like very specific type of Kanye, you know? And then there was like also like really small artists that a lot of people probably don't know about it. Like probably like Skizzy Mars, and like I would do like Jeezy, These Things Happen type beat. So there was like this alternative, more, I don't know, there was a certain rap that was like popular in like 2014 that I liked, that I kind of sent like beats in that direction. So there was like 2 different ones, but I definitely kind of grew out of the G-Eazy one. But yeah, it was still, I think they were still like targeted niche. I didn't stop being so targeted until like December 2019 and January 2020, when the numbers started to go crazy. And I noticed like if I post a Drake, just straight Drake type beat, it could get 10,000 views in the first day, you know? So then I was like, oh, okay, cool. It looks like I've graduated past this for now. And then, but until then, and then even at that point, I would still post like a Kanye, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy type beat or something, you know?
Yeah, so that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of different keywords. So the YouTube algorithm is just this really sort of nebulous thing. Mm-hmm. You said something interesting and important in that video. You said you don't have to have a big YouTube channel to make money selling beats. Mm-hmm. What is your advice to people with small YouTube channels to really laser focus their beat traffic?
From all sources, not just YouTube?
Well, specifically YouTube, just because that's such a beast in and of itself.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know if I have great advice. I was watching Mr. Beast video, which like him talking about the YouTube algorithm. Like, do you know who Mr. Beast is? The like biggest.
Yeah, isn't he like a fitness guy or something?
No, he's just like the flat out biggest guy on YouTube. And
he's like, never mind. I don't know.
He was on like Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, but he was talking like he's very analytical and looks at it like very much from like a looking at data like point of view. And he was talking about like you can always swap out the word algorithm for audience and it works. So like you're really just trying to please the audience, and so is YouTube. So what you're really trying to do is please the audience. So which makes you think about specific people. So like, for example, if I'm doing the Kanye West College Dropout type beat, I know there's a rapper who was listening to the College Dropout, feels super inspired, wants to make a song with like that uplifting, soulful feeling. where you could probably rap and you don't have to be like so like tough and hard, like, and you can. So then he goes to YouTube and he types in Kanye West college dropout type beat, and I knew that like a lot of producers weren't thinking like that, and so and I just use that example all the time, but you can swap that out for so many different keywords. Like, just think about what people are actually looking up. Like if anyone has like a cult following or a diehard fan base, but they're not like so crazy popular, like they have fans that are listening to their music in their car and then wanting to rap like them and literally searching up very specific keywords of what they want. And that's great, like for getting on early and building a fan base. And then your whole job is just like to please your audience. Like if your views are dipping, which honestly my views have dipped a little bit right now. What I think is the cause of mine is I think my thumbnails are outdated. Like I think my thumbnails looked old, and people were like, if you go and look at everyone that's popping right now, they have a similar style thumbnail, and I think mine were just like a little outdated, and so I was getting a lower click-through rate. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but this kind of
I like where this is going.
I had a lower click-through rate. So YouTube is pretty simple. It's one, how your audience retention, your watch time. Like if you post a video, like do they watch for the majority of the time? And so like that's going to be important. And then two is like how clickable your title and thumbnail are, because that shows to YouTube that it's interesting content and like it compels people to click on it. And so that's your click-through rate. So like if we both had like a minute 50 watch time on a good beat, me and some random competitor, and they have a 15% click-through rate and I have a 12% click-through rate, and it's like the same exact beat, they're gonna get like 10 times the views because they're gonna be way higher in the search results when someone types in Drake type beat, And so like it wasn't that they had a better beat, it was that people liked their thumbnail and title better and they clicked on it slightly more, and then it ranks higher and mine gets buried. And so like and then those people are just gonna dominate that term. So it's that's kind of how it works. Like, so I mean, I got to work on getting my click-through rate up, and a lot of that is just studying like what's working right now. So I mean, if you looked, I did switch my thumbnails recently, and I have noticed a higher click-through rate on every single one. So
okay, I'm thinking about doing the same thing. When you said the thumbnails that everyone uses nowadays all are similar. What are they? How would you describe how the kind of modern day type beat thumbnails are looking? Because from my perspective, they're just kind of like random, almost low quality looking images of artists and cropped vertically with a lot of negative space.
That's it.
Okay.
And so like the thing is, the way I look at it is like, it's not up to me to decide if that's cool or not, Like, I'm not crazy impressed with like the ability to do something like that, but that doesn't matter,
It makes our lives easier because you work really hard on your thumbnails, and so do I. And it's just kind of like, damn, if I can do this easier, and if that's sometimes the easiest solution is the best solution, right?
Yeah. It's all about what's effective, Like, you could spend 1 million hours like putting in, like doing all this crazy stuff, but like if it doesn't catch the audience eye, like it doesn't catch the audience eye, like, And so like there's something about it, like I don't understand. I don't know what what the reason is, but there's something about it that makes people click, that like it's more clickable. Like, and if it might just be 1% more clickable, but like that's, if my click-through rate on my channel would raise 1%, I would probably get an extra 200,000-300,000 views a month and probably make like an extra $5,000-$6,000 a month, I swear. Like just off of 1% more people clicking on my videos.
That's amazing.
I like that. It's just the math kind of works out to be that way, I'm pretty sure. Like I've done the calculations. Like,
and this is a good question because clearly you're looking at your analytics regularly. You're looking at your YouTube stats and your click-through rates and all that. Probably a lot of producers aren't
almost
doing that, or if they are, they maybe don't necessarily understand what all those things mean.
Well, I mean, that's part of your job is to study this stuff, you know? Like, if your goal is to become a producer for a living, YouTube, then understanding and studying YouTube is just as important, if just as important as being able to make good beats. I mean, they go hand in hand. It's like, just because you make good beats, like what's the saying? It's like necessary but not sufficient, you know? Like, you just really have to. People just like say the marketing side, which like sometimes like can be broad, I feel like, and not terribly specific. But that means like understanding how to get views on YouTube, and that means breaking down what YouTube is looking for. That means like understanding click-through rate. That means understanding title and thumbnail. It means understanding an upload schedule, consistency. It means understanding what time of the day to post, even though I suck at that. But it's like understanding what videos are popping right now, what artists are popping right now. It's like that, it all goes into it just as much as like having a like understanding how to like EQ a sample or something like that, you know?
So when your views dropped, you said you did notice that your views dropped. Did your sales drop as well, or were you able to maintain a pretty consistent income?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's consistent. It's not, I mean, for sure they drop. Like, is everything fine? Yeah, but I don't know. I want to do really well, you know? So, so that drops. But then like, I actually like when that drops, it's just a signal like to my brain. It's like, okay, time to learn something new. The market's changing. It's not the same as it was in January 2020. Like things are different now. So it's time to relearn everything. It's like, forget everything you know, like, and it's time to relearn and try to find new ways of making money. And I've found like, I've discovered a lot of new things, and I think there's more to discover. And so like, I'm excited. I think like I'm going to come back, and not that things are like terribly bad right now. Like things are pretty good. Like I can't complain at all, but like, I think I'm going to come back with those same numbers that I was like showing at the end of the video. But like, it's going to be so much less fragile than it was at that time. Like my brand and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's at least my goal, you know?
Yeah. People are asking what's your goal in terms of CTR?
Okay. So I've seen some of my friends that have like the most pop-in like Drake type channels right now. And I've seen them anywhere from like, they'll pull like 16, 17% click-through rates. I've seen a friend with like an 18% click-through rate on a certain type of video. And I was like mind blown by that. I didn't even know people could do that. And I'm pulling like 10, like sometimes on a bad one, it'll be like 9%. And then on a good one, 13% or something. Like 14% is what's like really good. I still have yet to see like a 16%, which would be like, if I get 16% click-through rate on a video, like and the watch time is 140, 150 plus, then like I know that's like 100,000 view video, maybe a million.
It seems like such a small number when you say it, but it's really a significant difference. It's fun. It's kind of like with email marketing, open rates and click rates, where you think you're failing because you're getting a 20% open rate. And that means you're missing out on 80% of the people on your list, but the industry standard is probably closer to 15%. So yeah, it's crazy.
Which I suck at email marketing, so I can't comment too much on that. That's like a weakness of mine, where if I figure that out, then that'll be another way. I know people do really well on that, though. I've heard like exact numbers from people, and it's like, oh damn, I didn't know that was possible. And so that's something to be mastered as well, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's a lot like the YouTube game because there are the same sort of needs to optimize your emails as there are your YouTube channels. So like keywords in YouTube, subject lines in emails. click-through rate in YouTube videos, avoiding the spam blocker on
interesting
an email. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Let's talk about this. You uploaded a couple. When I looked at your channel, you had uploaded 2 beats yesterday, but I guess you uploaded 2 more after that.
Well, that was within a 24-hour period. I took a picture on my phone and I saw that like one was an hour ago, one was like 4 hours ago, one was like 18, and one was like 23 or something.
Why did you? Is this is part of your new strategy of just not giving a fuck and just going for it? Right?
No, that's the thing is I still care. Like I want every beat to be really good.
I don't mean not care. I mean like turning off the kind of neurotic part of your brain that second guesses everything and just what you were describing earlier.
Yeah,
just being more willing to just get stuff out.
Exactly, but like at the same time, like I do want to like second guess the beats though to us like for like maybe only for like 15 minutes though, instead of second guessing it for 2 hours or 3 hours and like procrastinating because I'm not sure if the beat's good or not. That's what I'm trying to get rid of. Like you still want to have that, like you still want to question yourself. Like that's very important in my opinion. So it's not like, oh, everything that like I can spend 30 seconds on this beat and post it, like I definitely like I make it and I'm like, are you sure it's good? But like I make sure that there's a very quick like turnaround of like I question it and I give it an honest look and then move quickly and make decisions really quick is what I'm trying to do.
Got it. Oh man, we have 11 minutes left. Let me get to some other questions. I want to switch gears a little now. Let's talk about that. It looks like 2 friends hanging out on a porch, and it's you and Russ. How did that relationship start? How did you get to working with Russ?
Yeah, I feel like I can only say a little bit about that because I had to sign like an NDA. But that was through. I think I could say it was through like the Odd Status group who Chase Banks is in charge of. And he is connected through that. And so I gotta give him credit for all of that. So I don't know like how much I'm allowed to talk about it, especially for
this is the real Illuminati. Did you have to drink goat's blood with Russ?
No.
Well, you can't answer either way. You signed that NDA. Okay.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk, placements and your strategy, because you're doing a lot right now. You started the second YouTube channel. You're clearly focused on that a lot because you're creating a lot of content for it regularly and it's growing, but you're also stepping up your kind of core business, which is beat leasing. In addition to that, you're getting placements. You've been making a lot of samples lately. What made you start doing that?
I felt like samples are like that would be the best way for me to get placements in the future is what I thought. And the reason behind that is like it has the highest barrier to entry. Like you have to really be dedicated to music and learning all the theory and learning all like how to compose and all that kind of stuff. And I know most people aren't willing to put in that work, which makes like if you are and you get to a certain level, kind of makes things a lot more wide open. And so I thought that would be the hardest thing to do. And so that's why I wanted to do it. And I just like, I was seeing a lot of people, like Dylan Graham is going crazy right now. And so I'm seeing like a lot of people like that. And his stuff is really, really good. And like, I wanted to, it's cool because you can collab with people. It's like the best collaboration tool as well. Cause it's like when you reach out to someone, you can't say like, hey bro, let's work, like that's never like, everyone's like, even if they like you, they're going to be like, sure, man. Like, but it's like, okay, well you both do drums. Like now what? And then, so it's like the most effective way to reach out and like really like network with people. So it's just a great way to build relationships and it's just like another income source, which is amazing. There's a ton of upside to it. And it's like, honestly, it's just fun too. Like, it's really cool to learn about like different genres of music and like go and break them down and like, oh, this is what chords they used. This is what like how they like wrote lead melodies and how they this is like the elements they used and stuff like that. And it's been really fun lately. Like I've been going on, me and my friend Kavi, like KXVI, who's
I
also
just talked to him today, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, he's also from Colorado. But yeah, he does really well. He's got a really solid business with the samples. And so me and him, we've been going on like Fiverr lately and getting like musicians and instruments or musicians to like replay like live instruments and stuff like that. So one is just really fun. And yeah, it's just, I like improving and learning and that kind of stuff. And so that's like a great like avenue to pursue because it's so difficult, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you send me samples all the time, and I use them, and the beats that I make with them sell pretty regularly. But and I love it. So
well, I appreciate you using the loops. That I'm always excited. When
they're good. Yeah, they're good loops. And then Kavi sent me some loops too. So I guess it's all in the family. But I imagine you send samples to many producers. How did you build a network of producers that accept samples, and then how do you stand out among the other sample makers that are flooding in? My inbox is flooded with samples. I imagine other producers' inboxes are the same story.
Yeah. And mine are flooded as well. So it's actually nice because I know what the other side looks like, because I know what the target audience is, because it's me, So how do I stand out? So one, it just helps being known, So you want to build a brand, you want to build a YouTube channel, you want to build an Instagram. You just want to build a brand. That's why as my second YouTube channel grows and I really like build more of a brand within the producer community, because my Type Beat channel, I want artists to follow. My other channel, I want producers to follow. And so as I build that, like if you see 50 random emails, but I see someone who like, hypothetically, like someone who's bigger on YouTube, like if I saw like Simon Servito sent me loops or something like that, I'm going to click on those and like check them out. So that's what like so at that point, it's not really quality that would separate it. And so just be known. And then the other thing is like, and I don't think this is my place to say if I'm good or not, but I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to put like a high level of effort into them. I'm trying to try to come up with interesting ideas that maybe people haven't done before, or like inspired by a certain genre that like, or just do that well, like have the right textures, like have it feel authentic, and have it just be like high performing. I don't know how to explain that exactly other than just like putting time and like paying attention to what's working. But like, I feel like mine have like some soul into them, and it's not just like piano roll that someone clicked in. It's like I've learned how to play the piano. I bought like vintage synthesizers. However, I don't use those because they're kind of inefficient. But like it's the ideas, like really putting time and effort into, I don't know, like just trying to be good and constantly learning from like, that's how you try to separate yourself. Is just, I know that's not the best answer, is to like try to be good, but like,
I mean, it's true. When we first started talking at the beginning of this interview, we were talking about the numbers and the 800,000 number, and a lot of people were joking about, the federal government and this and that. Well, yeah, and I think it's an important conversation to have, and we had this conversation a couple episodes ago with Memory and Cloud9, and we were talking about the financial pitfalls and the financial literacy element in all of this, because it's there. We just don't talk about it. Did you end up getting an accountant at some point to handle your taxes and financial accounting?
Yeah. The first year I got more of like a tax preparer, and I thought I was getting like a CPA, but and so it worked. Now I have a CPA. I'm going to set my stuff up as like an S Corp, I believe. So which I think makes the most sense from what I understand. But yeah, I definitely try to outsource those tax stuff as much as I possibly can. I hate taxes so much, but not just paying them, just like organizing it, and just like you don't know if you're doing it right. Like, so yeah, I have a CPA, and I need to get better about paying like quarterlies on time and that kind of stuff. But you just get a fine for that, and it's nothing crazy. So like, but like
No, it's
tax
a
day,
small percentage. Yeah, it's like a couple, and I think they're forgiving about it. I was on the phone with the IRS because I sent my quarterlies, and then I checked to see if they had cashed the check, and they hadn't. So I'm panicking. I'm calling up Uncle Sam, like, "Hey, bro, why aren't you cashing this damn check? I'm not trying to get hit. Even if it's $30, I don't want to get hit with it at the end of the year."
Yeah, and like financial literacy is so important, like because you need that. Like I said, the money is time in the bank to work on your skills and improve and learn about marketing, learn about YouTube, learn about BeatStars, learn about all that kind of stuff, learn about how to sell stuff, like how to market, like how to make your how to like make a product that like makes people compelled to give you money, which is a very hard thing to do. Like, so like that just buys you time. If you're like spending your money on like dumb stuff, which I've bought some, maybe not the best financial choices, but I only did it when I was in a position where I could totally afford it.
What's the dumbest thing you've bought? I'm curious.
The big ones is like my Tesla, my Rolex, and my boat were the things that were.
I mean, a Tesla's practical. A Rolex, not so much, but at least it has high resale value. Exactly,
and I bought it certified pre-owned. I did all my research, and I actually think it's appreciated. So I actually don't think that's a bad move. It was just like maybe it doesn't appreciate as much as my investment accounts would have. So none of that stuff's like really bad. The boat, yeah, but I love boating, so like.
Yeah, Scott Storrs went bankrupt buying all those damn yachts.
Yeah, but okay, the thing is,
it's like, not a yacht, is it?
No, definitely not. It's like I only buy those things when after taxes. Okay, I don't even know if I should have said all that, but I only buy these things if it's like after taxes, I can buy it 3 times. You know, like that's like my rule.
So bought 3. Why didn't you buy 3 boats? Just have a whole fleet.
I don't need that. I just like to wakeboard. That's like my favorite thing. So
you know what though? Okay, 2 things. You can make beats with a Tesla, and number 2, gas prices are so high. Plus, did you get a tax break for buying an electric vehicle?
Yeah, there was a tax break in there. So,
even your dumb purchases are actually pretty economically and fiscally responsible.
Yeah,
environmentally responsible.
Yeah, even on the boat, which is by far the worst one. Like I know, like I did a ton of research and I got a really good deal. And it, like, I could probably sell it in like 3 years if I wanted. I'll probably keep it because I love it. But I could sell it in like 3 years and maybe lose like 5 to 10 grand on it, which is like totally worth it for the fun I've gotten out of it. So like,
even like crazy boat parties, or are you more like a solitary boater?
I'll have some friends out there. I don't know if it's like wild boat parties, but I love water sports. That's like my favorite thing. I love like to wakeboard, like do the wake surfing and stuff like that. That's what's fun.
And you pull the boat with your Tesla?
No, I have friends that have trucks.
Okay.
I just call, like it's not hard. Yeah, when someone
like yeah, because they're getting to hang out on one of these, Dilly yacht parties, of course.
That's hilarious. But yeah, no, that is true. They are always excited to help out because Dilly got it boating. That's funny.
So oh man, we're over time. And that's a sad thing. How can people follow you and stay in tune with everything you have going on? And I know you have your sample link in your Instagram bio now.
Mm-hmm. I need to switch that too. I just did that when I made that post. But yeah, you can follow me. DillyGotItBumpin is my type beat channel. It's just Dilly for my like tutorial channel and like or like my on camera stuff. And then DillyGotItBumpin on Instagram. And yeah, that'll be I'll put all my links in my Instagram again.